everyone, thanks for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. My name is Karina and I'm a psychic medium out of Calgary, Alberta. Today's episode is all about if psychics and healers should charge money for their services. So over the years, that question has come up multiple times by some of my students, some clients, and I've read some pretty interesting articles about it. So let me start at the very beginning of my journey so I can explain a little bit more. I always knew that I wanted to help people, but when I took my Reiki course, I did it just for me. I did it to heal my wounds and my pain, and I didn't think I would ever be doing healings on others. But when I started using angel cards and realized that I could somehow channel advice from up above, I never in a million years would have ever thought that I would be doing daily readings talking to people's past loved ones on the other side. I started off by practicing on friends, either by doing a card reading or Reiki on them. Then it became friends of friends. I was only doing it by donation at the time, and sometimes people would give me $10 or $20, and I would be just thrilled with that money because it went towards our bills and helped out a lot. But I found that I was giving so much of myself, and sometimes I would end up spending about 2 to 4 hours with someone, and after I would be so burnt out. It got to the point where I stopped doing all of it, probably for about a month. I was so drained, and I had been taking so much time away from my family, plus trying to hustle by buying and selling used items, to making ends meet. I was cleaning houses. I was doing everything under the sun just to try to help support my family. And I was left completely spent. Then one day, my spirit team said that I needed to learn to stay in balance with the universe. They said that I was out of balance, and in order to restore that balance, I needed to start charging a set price for my services. And at first, I really struggled with that. I wasn't sure how that would feel. But they told me to start low, but that it needed to be a set price. So I think it was about $40 at the time for 60 minutes. But each time I would go overtime, and I don't mean by 15 or 20 minutes. I'm talking I would go over about 1 to 2 hours, sometimes 3. I know that sounds crazy, but there's no time, space, or dimension with spirit, so you get lost in that energy. And then I learned something very important. I learned that I had to set boundaries. And by that, I mean I had to learn to say to spirit before someone would come that I only had 60 or 90 minutes to convey the messages to the client. And this method really did help a lot. Even though I still sometimes went over, it was no more than 30 minutes, and I didn't charge any extra for that. And as I started working more and more and gaining experience as a healer, I was again guided to change my pricing. I believed it changed about 2 more times over the couple of years, and at one point I raised the pricing to $150 for a 90-minute reading and Reiki combo. And I kept it at that same pricing for 4 years, actually over 4 years. And only a few months ago, my pricing increased once again, and let me explain why. I'm very good at listening to my spirit team, and the day they guided me to the last increase, I had to really sit back and question why. I started to have moments of fear. The questions that were popping into my head were, who's going to pay me what they're asking me to charge? Am I good enough to charge that? And am I being selfish? And as I sat with those questions, the answer that came was quite simple. I was worthy of it. What I have learned on this journey of mine is that we need to feel worthy on every level. And as I always say, money is just an energy. And when we work hard, we deserve to receive. I worked extremely hard 5 days a week with lesson after lesson and gained so much experience that I knew that I deserved what I was asking. The reason I feel worthy of what I charge is this. Take into consideration all of the money I had to spend to master this craft, all of the courses and classes over the years. But that's not really the full reason. The main reason is that no one knows all of the brutal lessons I needed to learn along the way. I cannot even begin to explain all the negative spirits and energy that I had to fight off Too many times I would work on someone and they would leave feeling wonderful, but little did they know that I had to work so hard to clear what was attached to them. And that attachment was left in my home that not only affected me but my family. There is a lot of meditation, clearing, and prepping that I have to do before an appointment, and when they're gone, I have to do that entire process again. It really does take a lot of energy to do this type of work, and not many people can understand what is involved to do it. Yes, it is an ability, or as some say, a gift, but this gift comes with a very high price that I cannot explain to anyone else but a fellow healer. I feel like some people view this as such a cool and amazing way of life, and I have lost count of all the times that people have told me that they wished that they had this gift. They say that they want to see like I do, and my response to that is always the same: be careful what you wish for. For years, I viewed this as a curse. I didn't know how to turn it off, and I was constantly bombarded by spirit and energy. Thank goodness I learned to tune it all out until I have a client. But to be honest, I do love what I do now, but I sometimes crave having a normal job, or a normal life, or whatever that normal really is. But nothing, and I mean nothing, is normal about my life. Not to mention the toll it takes on me as an empath, hearing people's deepest, darkest secrets, their worst pain, their traumas, and their grief. Connecting to the other side takes a lot of energy. Working a 60-minute appointment can some days feel like an 8-hour shift. To match the frequency of spirit on the other side, it takes so much energy, and I'm often left drained and completely exhausted. And there are many appointments where I'm literally talking people off the ledge. That is one of the most rewarding parts of my job, but also the most draining. And what most people don't know about me is that even though I only work no more than 2 appointments a day, I work the entire day. My phone does not stop dinging from the moment I wake up until sometimes right before I go to sleep at night. I have so many clients, students, friends, and family that rely on me to be their advisor. For over 3 years, I would pull individual angel cards on my Facebook page, sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, for almost 200 people for free. I did that because I know that I'm very blessed, and I wanted to give back to those that could not afford to come see me. And then the podcast started, and I found I could no longer balance it all. And so I started doing a weekly angel card reading video so that I could still give out a weekly message, but not have to pull cards for so many people individually. I wanted to do a podcast to help everyone learn all of the things that save my life, and I don't ask for anything in return. It's a way for me to teach and help that requires a lot of time and sacrifice on my end, but I do it with love. I do it because when I was so broken, I would have truly appreciated hearing and learning so much that could help me. So you see, when a healer takes so much of their time to master how to help others, they are worth it. They are taking time away from their families to help you with your pain. They have paid a high price to be able to shed some light upon others, and they are worthy of their fee. They are providing a service to you, just like a lawyer, a doctor, a surgeon, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a psychiatrist, etc., etc., etc. You see, I view all of those professions as a gift. They're gifted at what they do, and no one questions as to whether they should give their services out for free. So if anyone should ever question the cost of a healer, know that there are so many reasons as to why they deserve to be treated as every other service provider is treated. With this episode, I really wanted to shed a little light on why healers charge for their services and gifts. You just never know what battles they have fought to be able to help you with yours. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me today on the Divine Messages podcast. And I hope that you have a better understanding of why healers charge for their gift. The perspectives and opinions are based solely on the Divine Messages podcast's interpretations. We can in no way be held responsible for the actions of our followers.